We do have one more mining article to cover. Stateside. So stateside Bitcoin mining, U.S. Bitcoin mining. After short-lived ban, city in upstate New York is still reckoning with crypto miners. Cities across the U.S. are grappling with what it means to have cryptocurrency mining operations in their communities. Plattsburgh offers a sobering case study. This piece is part of CoinDesk's Mining Week. In a rundown strip mall behind a Family Dollar store and a plastic recycling facility, tens of thousands of specialized computers packed into shipping containers mine Bitcoin 24/7. Unless they were looking for it, visitors to Skyway Plaza might not even notice the cryptocurrency mining operation run by CoinMint, a firm based 1,860 miles away in San Juan, Puerto Rico. There are no obvious signs bearing the operator's name, no telltale giveaways save the whirring hum of the computers and the constant whoosh of industrial fans. Some doors to the facility are left propped open day and night, probably to prevent the computers from overheating. Others are covered with metal grates and pocked with sun-faded candy wrappers and other trash blown in by the wind. During multiple trips to the 10-megawatt facility, CoinDesk didn't observe any staff or security guards. Cameras and bright spotlights might be enough to deter would-be thieves. Locals told CoinDesk that during winter months, homeless people are known to wander in through the open door seeking a warm place to sleep. Look at that, cryptocurrency taking care of the homeless, providing heat. As you guys know, if you want some extra heat in your home, you can always run a miner during the winter. Hey, it works. 3 miles away at the Imperial Mill, a former wallpaper factory turned industrial park, another miner called Zafra LLC is building a 2-megawatt facility. When CoinDesk visited in early March, the facilities were clean, well-lit, and overseen by a uniformed security guard. Zafra CEO Ryan Brienza showed off a newly installed cooling system and explained how heat generated from the operation was being used to warm neighboring units in the industrial park. Brienza's high school friend, a full-time Zafra employee, was at work painting the company's custom-made metal mining containers a vibrant blue. That's a pretty cool idea to help warm neighboring units in the industrial park. I really like that idea. The contrast between these two outfits help illustrate why Plattsburgh, a sleepy college town in New York's North Country, about 20 miles from the Canadian border, became a poster child for the hot and cold relationship between local communities and crypto mining operations. But far more important than their contribution or detriment to the quality of life is the strain these businesses place on the cost of living. Plattsburgh made international headlines in March 2018 when it became the first U.S. city to ban cryptocurrency mining. I remember that. We talked about that way back then in a YouTube video. Mining operations had flocked there for the year before for its dirt cheap electricity, but residents soon began complaining of skyrocketing energy bills and loud noises from whirring computers and industrial-grade fans used to cool the mining facilities. The municipal government, under the leadership of then-Mayor Colin Reed, a professor of economics and finance at the State University of New York at Plattsburgh, voted to enact an 18-month moratorium on commercial crypto mining in the city. The moratorium wasn't meant to push the miners out of Plattsburgh, Reed recently told CoinDesk, but rather to give the city time to sort out how to make them better neighbors. Neighbors that wouldn't keep passing the ballooning power costs to the residential users every month or drive locals mad with constant noise. In February of 2019, the moratorium was lifted several months ahead of schedule. Reed's administration had come up with a host of solutions aimed at reducing the burden miners had placed on the community. The biggest step was a passage of Rider A, a fresh tariff structure agreement with the New York Public Service Commission that ensured that if the city had to purchase extra power on the spot market, the cost would be passed on to the miners, not on to the residential users. The city also passed a local ordinance that set noise limits and required mining operations to find a way to recycle the heat generated by the machines. as more New York State lawmakers rally behind a new bill that aims to put a 3-year moratorium on crypto mining operations located in former power plants, Plattsburgh offers a useful case study for local governments and businesses alike. That could also extend outside New York and across the country. Mining bans and crackdowns in other countries, including China, have led to a rise in North American crypto mining. In late 2021, the U.S. became the leading destination for Bitcoin miners, accounting for over a third of the global hash rate. Cities across the U.S. are now grappling with what it means to have mining operations in their communities. And while concerns will differ from city to city, Plattsburgh answers a question that more and more lawmakers will soon be asking themselves. What happens when you ban crypto mining? Like many cities in New York, Plattsburgh gets its electricity from the Niagara River, which generates abundant and renewable hydroelectric power. Through a long-term contract with the Niagara Power Company or Power Authority set in the 1950s, Plattsburgh is able to sell industrial power for a mere 1.9 cents per kilowatt hour. And residential users pay 4.5 cents. That's incredible. One of the lowest prices in the U.S. and a fraction of the nationwide average cost of 13 cents per kilowatt hour, which, by the way, I do need to update what to mine. So we always calculate at 13 cents. The bottom line is simple. The cheaper miners can get their power, the more they will make in profits. Reed, the former mayor, told CoinDesk that by his calculations, CoinMint was earning about $19 million per month in profit at the height of its operation in Plattsburgh before the moratorium. CoinMint didn't respond to CoinDesk's request for comment for this story. But while Plattsburgh power might be abundant, it's not unlimited. The city's monthly quota allowance of 120 megawatts, also set in the 1950s, is more than enough for Plattsburgh, roughly 20,000 residents who typically use less than half the quota in a summer month. But in the winter, when Plattsburgh residents are all using electricity to heat their homes in below freezing temperatures, there's less to go around. That's when the problems began. The winter months straddling the end of 2017 and the beginning of 2018 were particularly cold in the North Country, and particularly good for the price of Bitcoin. For several months in a row, Plattsburgh miners, in combination with high residential power usage, pushed the city to the brink of its power quota, forcing the Municipal Power Authority to buy expensive power on the spot market to keep the lights on. Residentials and other local businesses were outraged to see their bills skyrocket. The city hosted town hall meetings where residents complained of bills hundreds of dollars more than expected. The chief financial officer for Mold Right Plastics, a large local manufacturer, reported bills $60,000 US and higher than the typical rate in January and February 2018. Quote, "We had a lot of very upset public testimony," end quote, Reed told CoinDesk. Quote, "We realized we needed to do something to protect our ratepayers," end quote. By March of 2018, the moratorium was in place. CoinMint, the biggest mining operation in Plattsburgh, pushed back against the new rules. The company sued the city to avoid paying a $1 million security deposit required by Rider A, and citing rising electricity costs. It moved the majority of its computing activity and hash power to Massena, New York, a former industrial town in the Finger Lakes region with more expensive industrial power. CoinMint purchased a former Alcoa aluminum smelting facility in Massena, I'm getting all that wrong, where it reportedly operates a 80-watt mega mining operation. In Plattsburgh, it still maintains the 10-megawatt facility in Skyway Plaza. In 2019, CoinMint was evicted from one of its facilities in the Imperial Mill Industrial Park for unknown reasons. Doug Buttdorf, I'm sorry, I can't do it today. Holy moly. Oh, that's funny. The property manager of the park declined to comment on either CoinMint's eviction or the space's two current mining tenants, including Zafra. The identity of the second mining operation is also unknown. Zafra, Plattsburgh's second biggest operation, however, worked to comply with the city's new rules. And when the moratorium was lifted, it expanded its presence in the city. That's why they're going ahead and providing heat, because then it helps basically reduce the power requirement during the winter months. Pretty good idea. After CoinMint's eviction, Zafra took over its location at Imperial Mill and has been working on a build out of a 2 megawatt mining operation. Zafra runs a hosting business and another unit in the industrial park. Zafra has a handful of employees, including CEO's Brienza's father, a local businessman and engineer, and Brienza's high school friend. At 22, Brienza is a recent graduate of Plattsburgh High School. Brienza also told CoinDesk that the company recently hired a former employee of CoinMint who claimed he was electrocuted while working at CoinMint's facility in Skyway Plaza. Though both CoinMint and Zafra have employees, dude, this is like, to me, I just imagine this like small little town, and like there's some high school students that got into Bitcoin mining, they started spinning it up, but like everybody still acts like they're in like this small town, so there's like all these weird politics, and he's like, man, I was working for CoinMint next door, but I got shocked and they did nothing about it. Can you believe they did nothing? I just got shocked working for them and they did nothing, bro. No, I'm quitting this stupid job. I should be more valued. I'm going to Brienza. Went to high school with him. All right. It's just like, it's so silly. This whole story is so silly. It's amazing. Though both CoinMint and Zafra have employees in Plattsburgh, the mining operations have created far fewer jobs than the city's government would like to see. Mining operations, you saw his hair, right? Like, clearly he got zapped. I don't think that's him. That's the other guy. But I just want to pretend it's him because look at that frizzy hair, bro. Mining operations often tout job creation as a benefit to the community before they set up shop. But both Reed and Christopher, the current mayor of Plattsburgh, said the gains have been minimal at best. Quote, for a better or worse, they don't create a lot of jobs, end quote, Rosenquist told CoinDesk. Quote, we track these companies. We know who they are. We know that there's only 1 or 3 jobs created after a build out of the mining facility. And the jobs that are created are often low skill, low wage security jobs, said Reed, which means that they produce little tax benefit to the community. Quote, mostly young kids work for them at minimum wage, so they're not buying houses and paying property taxes, and they can't really afford to live on the wages that Bitcoin mining operations pay, and there's no income tax, Reed said. There's really no way to tax them. Suck it. And because miners are highly sensitive to the price of electricity, as well as the ease of doing business, they keep their operations as mobile as possible, often shipping containers like CoinMint. That means they don't buy warehouse space, they rent it, and so cities like Plattsburgh don't reap the benefit in property taxes either. Well, I mean, they're renting it, so the owner of the rental space you would get the property tax from. Quote, we don't get property tax from crypto miners, we get it from their landlords. Yeah, that's how that works. We don't get sales tax from crypto miners because they're not selling a product. Yeah. There's no tax benefit or tax revenue we generate from the industry. We don't get any money from them, Rosenquist explained. There are ways to do it. Texas is doing it. You just need to get to work, bro. Other industries that consume the same amount of power as Plattsburgh crypto miners create many more jobs. Reed told CoinDesk that for each megawatt of power, economic planners typically expect to see 55 jobs created. So, okay, 1 megawatt of power, 55 jobs. Mold-Right Plastics, for example, which is the second biggest user of Plattsburgh's power at 5 megawatts per month, has about 450 employees. Reed said CoinMint has fewer than 10. Rosenquist, if it was GPU mining, they'd have to have a lot more, by the way. Also, like, a lot of these big mining companies really need to start working on internal nodes and like having some good IT infrastructure. I was looking at some of that stuff, and like if you start like building your own nodes and get better connections that way, building your own pools, I don't know. I think there's a lot of opportunity all around that, especially for large miners. Quote, look, if we're allocated a certain amount of power and we use 90% of that, that's money left on the table, right? Having some type of industry that consumes the rest of that electricity is our goal, Rosenquist said. The mayor, however, is also concerned that by selling the totality of the city's power each month, Plattsburgh could be missing out on a better option in the future. Quote, the city of Plattsburgh is very pro-adult recreational marijuana. Growers use as much, maybe slightly less electricity than a miner by the size we have, Rosenquist said. Quote, but large-scale marijuana grower and manufacturer would create a significant amount more of jobs, right? They would consume the same amount of electricity but provide more benefit to the city by creating jobs, end quote, he added. Bitcoin versus weed in today's power wars. All right. When asked whether Rider A was ultimately effective in protecting residential ratepayers, both Reed and Rosenquist told CoinDesk that there were no more complaints of sky-high electricity bills. But when CoinDesk talked to Plattsburgh locals, the truth appeared to be more complicated. Jeremy Frenia, there we go, an IT specialist for the local school district and small business owner. Oh, he owns a Magic the Gathering shop. Look at this king, boys. You should get into mining and play Magic because that would be cool. Told CoinDesk that while passage of Rider A kept his bills from rising astronomically, the monthly cost is still more than it used to be before the miners moved into town. You also have to take into account inflation, I think, at this point, but you know. Frenia is a co-owner of Medusa Gaming, a board game shop, and says the store's electricity costs each month are still up considerably from what they were before. Frenia said Medusa is open only 5 days a week for 4 or 5 hours a day. The only significant power draw in the shop, aside from the lights, is a fridge storing cold sodas for sale. Quote, our average bill prior to the Bitcoin farms was between $14 and $50 a month. Now we're up to $200 plus a month. So that's been wonderful, end quote. Obviously being nerdy sarcastic instead of looking at maybe just participating in maybe just, you know, set up Coinbase Commerce, work with those miners, have them come in for a cold soda and a game of Magic the Gathering, pay you in some Bitcoin, bro. Come on. We're working. We're going to work with you here. We got it. You can do it. Despite his frustrations with the mining industry's impact on his life, Frenia said he isn't against cryptocurrency. Quote, I don't mind crypto. I think it's fine, he said. Quote, but the impact is a little rough on the communities that are hosting it. End quote. So there you go. That's a fun story and a recap. I always like to be updated on what's happening in Plattsburgh because that's been a fun story since the beginning. Don't forget, CoinDesk is crypto mining week, so we should have nice long episodes covering tons of fun topics like that. I think I pretty much had all the exposition I wanted on that particular one. It's pretty fun to kind of go over and see what's going on. Hydropower, obviously great. I'm off hydropower too. Look, a lot of these operations, and I'm just going to like lay it out there. A lot of these people, they're spinning up massive operations and not working with the city and the community and not like working directly with the power company and just trying to shove a whole bunch in as they rent space. You know, it's good. Obviously, like when it affects people really, really poorly in this manner where they started renting the power and then the rates of the residential go up, that's not good. I hope you enjoyed this clip from the Crypto Mining Morning Show every Monday through Friday, 7:45 a.m. Pacific and 10:45 a.m. Eastern Time. You can check out more clips here, or if you're interested in checking out the entire live show, you can check that out down here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next Tuesday.